An interim goal for emissions reduction from global aviation by 2030. And a factory for the production of animal feed and aquatic organism to be established under 3 phases in Khazain Economic City. Those were the headlines. Now for the news in detail. His Excellency Dr. Frank-Walter Steinmeier, President of the Federal Republic of Germany, will pay an official visit to the Sultanate of Oman starting next Monday. This was stated in a statement issued by the Diwan of Royal Court today, which reads as follows. As an embodiment of the lofty keenness of His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq to meet the leaders and presidents of states to discuss regional situations in order to reach various ways to achieve international peace and harmony, and within the framework of the deep relations between the Sultanate of Oman and the Federal Republic of Germany, His Excellency Dr. Frank-Walter Steinmeier, President of the Federal Republic of Germany, will make an official visit to the Sultanate of Oman starting from Monday, the 27th of November 2023 until Wednesday, 29th of November 2023. During the visit, common fields between the two friendly countries will be discussed in a way that contributes to achieving their interests and aspirations, and consultations will be held on current regional issues. The humanitarian truce between the Israeli occupation and Hamas in Gaza Strip continues for the second day. It is expected that the second hostages exchange will be completed today, which will include the release of 42 Palestinian prisoners in exchange for 14 Israelis. Yesterday evening witnesses the release of 39 Palestinian hostages in the Israeli occupation prisons and 13 Israeli detainees with Hamas in the framework of the first phase of the exchange of detainees and prisoners under the humanitarian truce agreement. The U.S. President Joe Biden affirmed a real opportunity to extend the truce between Hamas and the Israeli occupation, adding that the exchange of detainees and hostages is only a beginning that will provide an opportunity to deliver urgent and necessary aid to civilians in Gaza to contribute to reducing their suffering. Biden pointed out that the time has come to work on renewing the two-state solution in order to achieve peace between the Palestinians and the Israelis and to end the circle of violence in the Middle East. The British Secretary of State for Foreign David Cameron warned that Israel's long-term security depends on the ability of the Palestinians to live in peace, stability, and security. During the visit to the region, Cameron said that there will be no safety, security, and stability in the long term for Israel unless this is achieved for the Palestinian people as well, as he expressed his deep concern about the violence of settlers in the West Bank, adding that it is not acceptable at all to target civilians, calling for the trial and imprisonment of persons responsible for such actions. Cameron has pledged an additional assistance of £30 million for Gaza Strip. The United Nations yesterday was able to send its largest amount of humanitarian assistance into Gaza Strip since the war broke out on October 7th. The UN said that a ceasefire that started on Friday allowed 137 trucks of goods to be offloaded by the UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestine refugees in the Near East reception point in Gaza, adding that 200 trucks were dispatched from Nitzana to the Rafah crossing. Hundreds of thousands of people were assisted with food, water, medical supplies, and other essential humanitarian terms. They reported 129,000 liters of fuel and 4 trucks of gas also crossed into Gaza, while 21 critical patients were evacuated in a large-scale medical operation from the north of Gaza. A meeting of more than 100 countries agreed to an interim goal for emissions reduction from global aviation by 2030 by using less polluting fuels, but China, Russia, and others aired concerns about the impact on their economies. Delegates said that the agreement, which came after 5 days of talks led by the International Civil Aviation Organization in Dubai, called for 5% lower carbon emissions throughout the use of sustainable aviation fuel or the other clean energy by 2030, compared with an earlier draft target of 5 to 8%. Some countries said that the target would encourage critical investments needed to ramp up SAF production, which now amounts to less than 1% of total global jet fuel. Aviation accounts for estimated 2 to 3% of global carbon emission. The permanent delegation of the Sultanate of Oman to the United Nations in New York held a reception on the occasion of the glorious 53rd National Day. The reception was hosted by His Excellency the Ambassador Dr. Mohammed bin Awad Al Hassan, Sultanate of Oman's permanent representative to the United Nations in New York. The reception was attended by many delegations and representatives of different Arab and foreign countries who expressed the depth of relations between the Sultanate of Oman and their countries as well. His Excellency Fahd bin Sulaiman Al Kharousi, Ambassador of the Sultanate of Oman accredited to the Islamic Republic of Pakistan, held a reception on the occasion of the glorious 53rd National Day. The Pakistani Minister of National Heritage, as well as many Pakistani officials, businessmen, and Arab and foreign diplomats joined the celebration. The attendees expressed their sincere greetings to His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq and to the Omani people on this occasion. Similarly, His Excellency Saif bin Rashid Al Jahwari, Ambassador of the Sultanate of Oman accredited to the Republic of Turkey, held a reception on the occasion of the glorious 53rd National Day. The reception was attended by more than 300 Turkish officials, ambassadors of various countries, and several academics and businessmen. The Embassy of the Sultanate of Oman in the Republic of Senegal also held a reception to celebrate the 53rd National Day, which was attended by a number of officials and ambassadors. The Omani Bioproducts Company intends to support the construction of a factory for the production of animal feed and aquatic organism, which the company is establishing in 3 phases in Khazain Economic City at an investment cost estimated at 37 million Omani Riyals as part of the efforts made by the Sultanate of Oman to enhance food security. The tender for the construction work of the factory was issued in June of this year, and it is expected that the construction work for the project will be awarded before the end of this year. The project aims to benefit from agricultural and biological byproducts, transform them into specialized value-added products, and recycle date byproducts, which include date kernels, pulp, and palm fronds. The project will produce about 100,000 tons annually of alternative grass feed made from agricultural residues enriched with dates, and about 300,000 tons annually of marine life feed such as shrimp and fish cultured in cages. The project will use locally available raw materials to cover the needs of newly established food security projects in the fields of red meat, dairy products, aquaculture, and marine agriculture, in addition to serving the export market. More than 23,700 visitors from inside and outside the Sultanate of Oman visited Oman Across Ages Museum in the Wilaya of Manah during the glorious 53rd National Day holiday. The museum succeeded in attracting large numbers of visitors through measures including extending visiting hours, assigning an additional number of employees, and other facilities that enabled the visitors to enter the museum and learn about the history of Oman and its blessed Renaissance through the museum's exhibition halls, the History Hall, and the Renaissance Hall, and enjoy the museum's other facilities as well. The museum also organized a package of training programs for some traditional industries and crafts, in addition to an artificial intelligence program. This is the Sultanate of Oman television. Before we end tonight's bulletin, here are the main points once again. His Excellency Dr. Frank-Walter Steinmeier, President of the Federal Republic of Germany, will pay an official visit to the Sultanate of Oman starting next Monday. The temporary truce in Gaza Strip holds for a second day, allowing more hostages and prisoners to be freed. More than 100 countries agreed to an interim goal for emissions reduction from global aviation by 2030. And a factory for the production of animal feed and aquatic organisms to be established under 3 phases in Khazain Economic City. With that, we come to the end of tonight's bulletin. From all of us here at the newsroom and the studio, it's good night, and we hope you've enjoyed your holiday.